Hello y'all, I am doing another 2019 reading wrap-up sort of thing. This one's gonna have 12 books instead of 10 like I've been doing, just because I wanted to extend it to the end of June to get all of my Pride reads in here. So let's just get started. We're gonna start with like the miscellaneous stuff, not the gay shit yet. The first book is 20th Century Ghost by Joe Hill. This is a short story collection, and it was so fucking good. Like, I knew I was gonna love it because I love Joe Hill, but sometimes I'm a little with like short story collections. Rated each short story individually, then I just took the average, and I think it was a 4.3 overall. His writing is so fucking beautiful and very poignant and so engaging so quickly. Like, you just are so hooked by the first page, and it's so hard to be so interested and invested in a short story, especially ones that are like just a few pages, and it's like, it's so good. Short stories where pop art, I just thought that was genius. It talked about death in a very cool and different way. I love that one. Better Than Home, it's literally about baseball and a father's love for his child, and just how it was kind of sweet but a little heartbreaking. In the rundown, I just wanted this one to be so much long. I had so many theories. I'm not going to talk about them in depth because one, I probably don't remember them all, and like I don't want to spoil, I guess. But I was so pissed that it ended. I needed like at least like 50 more pages. I needed it to be like a novella. I wanted more. Deadwood. Okay, this is like literally a 4-paragraph short story, and it's about phantom trees. Like, I don't even know how to explain it, but like, it was so, I literally wanted a whole like novel or collection about phantom trees. I think it's like a nice theme. It's a good metaphor for a lot of other things, and like, I want to write like poems using that as a metaphor and shit. Ugh. Bobby Conroy Comes Back from the Dead. Literally, this deserved to be its own novel. It's literally, you're on like the set of like the Dawn of the Dead or whatever, I believe it's that movie, and oh man, it was so good. I loved these characters. I want this as a story. My Father's Masks, this one was very weird, a little disturbing, and I really enjoyed it. Like, you know what, it feels like Watched Us. It kind of felt like that a little bit. Like, it was weird and I was like, okay, cool. I loved it. I want to see that come to life more. Okay, and in his acknowledgments, instead of doing like an actual acknowledgement, he put a little like short story in there, and I felt like that was a little homage to his dad there, and it was really sweet, and I loved that one a lot. I just think he has such a way with words, and this isn't even like these aren't even ghost stories. Some of them aren't even like spooky or like weird. Some are, but like I think he does everything right. My next read was Pet Sematary by Stephen King, Joe Hill's father. Who would have guessed? I wanted to read this because I grew up with the original movie and I loved it. I watched it a million times, and the remake had come out this year, and I was like, oh, I kind of want to read the story that I never have before the movie comes out, but like mental health and all this shit, so I didn't. I ended up reading it like after I watched the new one. I like the old one better. Just gonna put that out there. And this is a longer, like, one of his, I expected this one to be shorter, and it wasn't, but the thing is, this was so good. It's one of my, like, fave Stephen King's, I would say. I gave it a 4 stars, and it was very interesting because it didn't really talk about, like, the pet cemetery aspect, like, that aspect a lot. Like, it focused on just their lives and like all this shit, and then at the end it really looked like fast-paced, gets you in there. But the thing is, it doesn't like drag and it never gets boring. Like, I felt like it was necessary. It helped me care about these characters, and I really loved it. I don't know if I'm a little biased because I love the movie, but like, I love the movies of a lot of his books, and I sometimes don't like the books. But this was actually so good. It's literally one of my favorites. Next, we're gonna go with the 3 books I read for the Murakami Marathon, which was a readathon that Kate here posted. I'm just gonna quickly go through these. I read 3 things for it. Each one of these has its own separate vlog where I talk way more in depth about them, my thoughts while reading them, my thoughts after reading them, theories and everything. So the first thing I read for that was the buddy read, which is After Dark, and this was so good. It's phenomenal. 4.5 stars. It's my favorite of his fiction that I have read so far. I haven't read many, but still. It's literally the perfect book for me because it's all set in one day and like the night. It was very ominous. There's this weird parallel with our main character's sister. I just loved it so It was literally a perfect book for me. The only thing that dropped it was Takahashi. So fucking annoying. Literally just shut the fuck up. Go fucking whatever the fucking instrument he plays. And some of the shit he says about women and that was a little like, oh, come on, man. But it was wonderful. I have a lot of theories on it. I think it talks about time and your past and mental illness and things and changing yourself in your life, I guess. I don't know, man. I'm just throwing shit out here. Go watch my blog if you want to actually know what I thought of them. The next one was Kafka on the Shore, which I think I gave 3 stars. It's more like a 2.5. The thing, I'm not even telling you fucking synopsis of them. Fuck this shit. His writing's very beautiful. This was kind of weird. Not really. It's more of his, like, easier to follow of, like, fantastical shit, you know? But I had some personal issues with it. Short version is he talks a lot about mundane shit and, like, shit that I don't think adds to the story sometimes. Like, sometimes I love that, but especially in here, I think it's, like, I didn't care. I felt disconnected from all the characters. I didn't care about all the characters. I felt like at the end, they didn't even resolve anything. Like, they didn't even learn. There was some shit I just didn't care about. And it would have been better maybe if it was more magical. I don't know. I just didn't like it. And I had some issues with a certain character and the way they were portrayed. So it's like an LGBTQIA plus character. And I think he did it very badly. And it could have been a really cool character. And I just couldn't look past the terrible, terrible rep. And so that's why it's a lot lower. That's just, personal. And then the last thing I read was his memoir, what it talked about running, which was a 5-star, beautiful. I fucking loved it. It was just literally just about running, and it was, like, so inspiring. Not just about, like, oh, I'm gonna go running, just in life. I think so many sentiments that he thought and felt about running just tied back to life in general. How it tied into his writing. Sometimes he didn't even say how, but it's, like, you could see it, and it was cool to, like, learn more about him and what, like, drives and motivates him, and then that motivated me. Liked it. Okay, now we're gonna get on to the queer books. I think I have 7 here to get through. Let's just start in order of when I read them. The first one, I read my most anticipated release of the year, which is I Wish You All the Best by Mason Deaver. Non-binary rep from a non-binary author. Need I say more? This was beautiful and heartbreaking, but so soft and cute. We're following our main character who has just come out to their parents being non-binary, and then they get kicked out and they live with the sister. They're just trying to survive high school while also feeling like they don't belong and they can't be themselves and they're hiding the secret, especially when they meet a boy and they just want to be honest and share themselves with the boy, but they're scared because you don't know how people are gonna react to this shit. And okay, it's soft and cute and all this shit. I gave it a 5 stars just because, like, this rep is fucking beautiful and fucking the things that got me, though, I didn't cry when they got kicked out. I didn't cry at other stuff. There was one part towards the beginning. So when they get kicked out of their house, they call their sister they haven't talked to in, like, 10 years, and they meet the sister's husband, who they have never met before. So it's like they get picked up that night, and then the next day, the husband works at, like, the high school, and so he gets them into the school and shit, and then they come home, and, like, the sister just went to, like, Target and bought them, like, all these supplies so they could, like, stay and, like, deodorant and stuff, and she got, like, gender-neutral stuff, and the main character's like, wow. But what fucking got me was she asks, is everything set up? And the brother-in-law, husband, goes, yeah, they're all ready to go tomorrow. And I don't know why, but the fact that this person that they just met, like, a matter of hours ago, didn't even talk to them because they were fucking sobbing and, like, just went straight to bed, literally just used the right pronoun, called them they, and something about that just, like, got to me, that, like, you literally just barely met this person and you're able to do the, like, do that bare minimum, and, like, I don't know. Oh, it's just a personal thing, and I literally, that's, like, really at the beginning, like, 30-something or something pages in, and I fucking, like, cried. I had to sit down, I was like, why am I crying over this? But I don't know. This was beautiful. I think it explored queerness a lot. It explored the family shit a lot, and it was just so good. Next read is We Are Okay by Nina LaCour. I finally read this, and I only gave it a 3 stars. Sadly, I wish I could have loved it a little bit more. Like I loved her other book that I read, Everything Leads to You, which is phenomenal. You know, Own Voices, queer girls, lesbian, and this explored grief and loneliness very beautifully. I like how it compared everything to, like, Ghost and how people can become ghosts in your life. I didn't like, some of it was a little too, like, perfect, I guess you would say. Certain things were a little, like, oh, okay, unrealistic, but sure. But I think it had a lot to say about those heavy topics. It dealt with them pretty well, and I just love a good queer, you know? We love the queerness. It was sadly a little bit disappointing, and I don't even want to say that because I feel like I'm gonna get crucified, but it's Fun Home by Alison Bechdel. We all know Alison Bechdel, fucking queer icon. This is a classic LGBTQIA plus book. I talked a lot about this in one of my Murakami vlogs when I initially read it. I gave this a 3 star. The thing is, I wanted to love it a lot more. I feel bad judging people's lives. But the thing is, it's not even that it wasn't what I expected. I wanted this to be more of an exploration of her queerness, and it did talk about that. And, like, her, it's not that her life wasn't interesting. I just felt like this disconnect, I couldn't care. Also, all the fucking comparisons to literature that she would do that I just didn't care about, and, like, it was really sad, though, because, like, her and her dad could have bonded, but, like, it didn't, and, like, she had a rough life. I feel bad not giving it, like, a glowing review, but, like, it was fine. Like, I'm obviously happy I read it. Literally, this is a classic. We stand, we love, fucking a queen, right? But, like, yeah. Oops. Next is probably my favorite read of the month. Probably gonna be, like, #1 book of the year, maybe, it was These Witches Don't Burn by Isabel Sterling. Oh my god, I think this deserves its own review. I might make a whole review of this. Like, I wanted to the minute I finished reading it. I was like, I wanted to reread it and wanted to talk about it. I thought it was beautiful. This is, like, one of the only books that gets, like, that got, like, a real review on my Goodreads. First off, this is, queer rep right here. I believe Isabel's what I follow on Twitter now. She has queer, bisexual in her bio, so, like, I knew she was queer, I just didn't know if she was, like, specific with anything. Not that it matters, like, queerness, hell yeah. So, that's unvoiced right off the bat. This, oh my god, this was just so fucking queer and so proudly queer. The main character, badass lesbian witch. There's bisexual girls, there's a queer trans boy, and there's a lot of, like, older, like, gay, queer couples around that are just, like, there, existing, having children. And it's like, wow, queer people being, like, a part of society? Who would have thought queer people exist everywhere? Oh, it was so good. Also, I love The Best Friend. I have many a thought about The Best Friend. I want to write fan fiction about her. I want canon shit. I want to annoy Isabel Sterling so bad about all of my headcanons for her. And what I loved was, I was just so fucking happy that this straight cis girl did automatically, like, lose her shit when her best friend came out as gay and thought, like, oh my god, you're gonna hit on me, oh my god, no homo, all this dumb shit. Like, it was such a good friendship. It was so good. Also, the magic, holy shit. She put so much care into this. There's backstories, there was, like, I tied into, like, real Wiccan shit, I believe, and things, and just, I love witchy stuff. I've always wanted to get into, like, Wiccan shit, and just experiment, explore things, learn about different people, read nonfiction about it, read other fucking classic witchy things, and just, this solidified that love, that need for me to learn more Wiccan-y shit, and just so good. It actually made sense. A lot of, like, YA fantasy, it feels very, like, slapped together and, like, not well thought out. This, though, This was so good. The story, okay, like, it, again, this wasn't a perfect book. I gave it 5 stars. It was fucking beautiful, but, like, the writing kind of was like, yeah, it didn't feel too special. It's a normal YA book. Yeah, whatever. The world and the characters made up for that so fucking much. It was so hard to put this down. Like, I didn't want to. I think it literally read this in, like, a day. I think it was, like, 2 sittings. Like, it was, once I was in it, I just didn't want to stop. It was so fucking engaging. And, like, I just, like, oh my god, what's going on, what's going on? And I got so invested in this that whenever, like, a little twist or something would happen, like, some of it was, like, oh, yeah, like, you could kind of see it or you kind of knew all these things and stuff. But, like, I guess the main, bigger twist sort of thing kind of, like, blew me away. And I was like, oh, shit. Like, I would have thought of that, like, yeah, that makes sense. But, like, I didn't think of it because I was just so invested and there's so much shit going on that I couldn't even stop to think about that option. And I was like, oh my god, what the fuck? I was just, it was so fucking good. Also, being a YA book, it touched on a lot of, like, darker and more extreme feelings, like grief and anger, and I loved it because it wasn't just, like, brushed aside or it was an easy fix. Like, these characters were able to explore this, and, like, they weren't perfect. They reacted like real human beings, and I fucking loved that. This was so fucking good. I literally could talk about this book for years. Like, I would want to go more in depth with it, but, like, I'm trying not to be spoilery, but, like, oh my god. I fucking love this. So fucking good. Everybody, literally read this, please. I need to make a video about this. The next book I read was It's Not Like It's a Secret by Misa Sugiura. This is female romance YA. I know the Japanese rep, Asian rep is Own Voices. I don't know about the queer rep. You also get a Hispanic love interest, and this book, I mean, I wasn't expecting much from it. I gave it a 2 stars. It wasn't that it was horrible or anything. It just was very YA, you know? Very, very insta-lovey. So insta-lovey. He looks at the girl and is like, I'm in love, like, from that instant. But you know what? I'm gonna let that slide, because as a queer, I feel like we just literally will see a person and be like, fall in love with them in an instant. I know I do. I know that's the story for a lot of other queer people, because it's like you want to latch on to people. Just, you want someone to love you. It's a thing. I think this explored race and racism and stereotypes, especially within other races and POC groups. Like, it explored it, like, really well. Like, it brought a lot of light to it, and how people stereotype and they don't even think they're doing anything wrong by it. And it also had a lot of people who talked about their own race and was like, yo, I'm not like that. Like, and people were called out for being racist and all these different things. But what kind of pissed me off about it was that I feel like they addressed a lot of things and they would talk about these things, but I feel like none of the characters really learned anything from bringing it up. Like, they were all still kind of ignorant about things, or they just didn't, like, care to, like, be like, oh yes, I learned a lesson or whatever. And I guess, like, maybe it's, like, insinuated that they do learn the lesson, but, like, I don't really know about it. Another reason, some of these characters are so annoying. Like, I hate teenage girls. I'm sorry, I hate all teenagers, so, but, like, goddamn, sometimes I just can't, you know? Another big thing that I hated in this, and that's what made it super low again, was that there was a lot of just cheating going on, and a lot of, like, they try to justify it for a lot of things and a lot of reasons. It really upset me. I hate cheating, and I hate when there's no consequences for it. I hate when people just accept it, or they, like, try to, like the main character tried to, like, reason it and be like, oh, well, no, because I thought you were cheating on me and all these different things, and then, like, and then there's another, I don't want to, like, spoil anything, there's another case of cheating with a different character, and the main character is just like, oh, I accept it. I don't care. I do not care if you are in an unhappy relationship. I don't care if you're, like, whatever it is. You shouldn't cheat. I don't care. Leave that fucking person, then go get the fucking person you actually want to be with. I'm sorry. I can't stand that. I feel like a lot of queer books do that too, where they try to justify cheating for no reason. What the fuck? So yeah, this got, 2 stars. Do I have anything else to say about it? I don't know. I like the different POC rep in here. I think a lot of it was very, like, real and, like, honest, but I feel like she just had these characters in there and these races, but nothing was like learned from it. Like, but it was cool to just see different races in a book, in a YA book. So that was cool, I guess. I don't know. The next one is Own Voices Queer Rep, and it is The Past and Other Things That Should Stay Buried by Sean David Hutchinson. Okay, I'm a little biased. I love Sean David Hutchinson. I gave it a 4 stars. Okay, good. Yeah, 4 stars on Goodreads. It wasn't like a perfect book. It was very enjoyable, fast read. I literally read all of it in like one sitting, basically. This is about a gay little boy. He's like 17 or 16, so he's not little. And their ex-best friend dies. His family owns like a funeral home and all this shit. And then the ex-best friend comes back to life, kind of like they're like a zombie, but not. And that's really cool. And it's basically like them over the course of like a couple of days trying to figure out why she's not dead, but also other people can't die. And it's very intriguing. And it's talking about individuality. And I think that's really important, just in any story. But also, our queer little boy who was, like, just, like, you know, scared of shit and things and, like, upsetting the family. And I think it also had a lot of, because he didn't want to stray from the family business. But it's also, I think, because he was already so different being gay. Oh, also, the love interest is a trans boy, and he's POC. I can't specifically remember, and I don't want to get that wrong. But, like, it was a lot of diversity. It was a fun ride. It was enjoyable. He wanted to cry at the end, but like I cry at everything. I really like this. I love Sean David Hutchinson. Good shit so far. And the last read that I read for Pride Month, technically I finished it today on the 1st, but I read literally the majority of it last night because I started it late. Was a reread, and it is Fried Green Tomatoes at the Stop Cafe by Fanny Flagg. This, in case you did not know, is one of my favorite stories of all time. I grew up with the movie. I never knew it was a book. From the moment I was birthed, I have been watching this movie. Iggy is the love of my fucking life. I had the fattest fucking crush on her when I was literally like a 5-year-old, but like I didn't register that I was a crush because at the time, you know, it was like a girl and shit, and so like I was like, I can't like a girl, what the fuck? So I was like, oh, she's so cool, I want to be like her. But no, I was in love with her. And the movie, the gayness is toned down a lot. You know, in my mind, I was like, that's pretty gay, because, you know, I just make everything gay. And then when I found out it was a fucking book, a bitch copped it. It's a lot more gay. I really just wanted to reread it so I could tab it up, because the first time I read it, I read my mom's edition, and I can't fucking tab her books. But, oh my god, it's so fucking gay. I feel like I gain something new every time I experience the story. I haven't watched the movie in a little bit, but I used to literally watch it constantly growing up. It's one of those stories that I can just revisit over and over again and never get tired of it. It's like set in like Alabama in the like 1910s, teens, up until like literally like the 1980s, basically, because like you're following a woman, I just want to call her Cassie Bates because like that's who plays her in the movie, with an older lady in a nursing home, and she's telling the story of back in like the olden days in the 10s and 20s and 30s and all this shit. And it's basically revolving around one family, the Threadgoods, but more specifically Iggy and Ruth and their growing relationship, and it's very gay, and they have a child. And there's a lot of like darker shit in here, of course, because you're literally in the South in the 1910s and 20s and stuff, and like, so they got like KKK, and you know, like racism's a thing, and some slurs are thrown in there, but this was more of a, it's like not like when like Stephen King, for example, does that, where he's all like, I'm right about this, so haha, I can use that word, got around you, like haha, I'm able to use it, when it's like you're just throwing it out there and it's not adding anything, and it's kind of shitty and awful for you to do that. This felt more like that's just how the times were. Like, she wasn't trying to be offensive, like haha, I can use this word. It was always like, no, that's an honest portrayal, I guess. And that's not just for black people. It was a lot of other things in there, and like the way some of them talked obviously made sense because like you grew up here in this time period. I was like, anyway, back to Ruth and Iggy, my fucking queens. I love them so much. I just love Iggy. Oh my god, there's so much. My biggest thing this reread that I took away from it was how like, okay, everybody was with the fact that Iggy was in love with Ruth. Because, like, here's the thing. The family, when she was, like, 16 or whatever, knew, because, like, the mom's like, don't make fun of her, she has a little crush, and, like, it was okay. It was like, oh, Iggy has a crush on this girl. That's fine. Iggy likes to wear boys' clothes and run around and do all this shit and act like a typical boy. It's fine. And then, like, when Ruth comes to back and lives with her, it's like, hey, man, you're gonna be looking after Ruth and a baby? You need to get your life together. Like, everybody was just, like, okay with it, which makes no sense for it to be, like, 20s in the South. But I don't care. I fucking loved it. It's just so good. It's one of my favorite things ever. So anyway, that's my very, very long wrap-up. Tell me if you've read any of these. Tell me your favorite book of June. Tell me what queer books you read. If you didn't read any queer books, then I don't care. Don't talk to me at all. Alright, guys. See ya.